friends, it's Deb at Elk Creek Acres. Just thought I'd bring you along with me this morning as I go around and do chores, and it can serve as kind of a come along with me, and you can kind of take a little tour and see where we have our animals and just spend a few minutes with me today. So first thing we're going to do is release the Clucken. We're going to get the chickens out and fed. So the first thing I've got to do is come over here and get their feed. I soak their feed in different buckets, and that just allows the feed to ferment, and it has kind of a sweet smell as it ferments. So that allows the feed to ferment, which releases so many more nutrients to the animals than if you just feed it to them dry. So I'm gonna set you down here. You guys can watch me as I go feed the chickens and release the Clucken. The next thing I do is take care of the new baby geese. We have them in a brooder here underneath our, I don't know, call it carport area or just the lean-to in one of the bays. And so I have them all set up in there, and I'll get them some breakfast. They're yelling at me right now. All right, stay, Bella, stay. It's a pretty simple setup. Good morning, Waldo. Good morning, Abigail. How are you? Good morning. Stay, Bella. Cute little babies. So I just reach in here, pull out their water. Clean out their food. I just have 2 geese, so it doesn't take me much. Super simple. Just give it a little shake. They got plenty in there till lunchtime. I also have this cool waterer here that has a hole in it, and that's so they can put their heads in there and they can clean their bills and their faces without making a giant mess in their brooder. I got this idea from Alumna from Lumna Acres. I also have a little container of grit in there, and I just pull there's a few little wood shavings that got dropped in there. So I'll just move those. Bella, come. This dog has been so naughty the past couple days. Bella, come. Lie down. Stay. And then in there I have this grate that I need to clean each day. And my husband made this for me, so I can put this, I put their water on this, and they like to spend a lot of time next to their water. So they come over here and make a little mess with this water dish. But it all goes into this dish that I keep in there that I can just dump out and spray out, and we're all fresh and clean again. It really helps keep their brooder clean. Because if you didn't know, geese and ducks can be super messy. So far, this system is working out really good for us. It's a little bit time intensive in the mornings, but way worth it in the end when the rest of their brooder is dry, clean, not smelly at all, and they're happy. Because geese and ducks need to be able to play in the water. So we want them to be as happy as possible, right? So that's why they have the 2 different water dishes and all of this fun stuff in there. So I'm gonna clean these out. We'll put their brooder back together and we'll move on to the next animal. I've gotta hook the hose up to the water faucet before I get that stuff sprayed out. Just don't have enough hands. All right, come along. I'll get you set back down here. Hello, baby chicks. I should say baby geese. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of wood shavings over top just to dry up any spots that might have a little bit of poop in there. Bella, come. All right, so we grab the grate that ready. I almost forgot my dish. So I grabbed that dish that I just sprayed off, put it down in there. To even out the... There we go. Put the grate over top. Get my waters put in there. They're so happy to have it back. And I'll put their food back in there for them. Put their grit back in there. And then this little container, just a plastic Rubbermaid container, I put grass clippings in. So I literally just go right over here to my yard and I pick some grass for them. I'm trying to make it into little pieces so they can eat it easier because they're just little tiny babies. Once they're a little bit older, they'll be eating a lot more grass. Pull out any roots or anything, any tough pieces, because they're little babies. Let's feed them. Hi, little guys. How's it going? Playing in the water. All right, I'll come back later and love on them and spend a little more time with them. We'll see if I can do this one-handed. So what I'm doing now is I'm getting the chicken food ready to soak. You saw that when I fed them this morning, it's pretty soupy, and I can just take it in the bucket and toss it out because nature and the ground makes a great filter for anything. So I'll put 2 scoops of their chick starter in the bucket of water that I got. And then I'm also been feeding them some scratch grains. I'll grab some of that, toss it in there. And that's easy. That's it. I just make sure it all gets in there. Put the lid on. Here's one that's working on it. This will be tomorrow's. See the bubbles? You want bubbles on the top. When you're doing things like fermenting feed, you want to make sure that you have at least a couple inches, 2 to 4 inches of water above the food, because you don't want any regular air to get to the food, because then it would cause it to get moldy. And we don't want moldy. We just want the beginnings of fermentation. All right, now we're done with the birds. We'll move on to the next guys. The goats are pretty simple little creatures. We just have to put them out in their paddock and get them fresh water. And then that's it for the day. So I like to go get their bowl of treats. It's just a tiny little bit of treats. It's just enough to get them to go out into their paddock without messing around and going anywhere else. They'll follow me and go straight where they need to go. I know you guys have seen me do this before, just getting their treats. I call it treats because it's, you know, nothing necessary for them at this time of year. Just a little goat mix that I get from the co-op. Just enough for about 2 bites for each one. All right, so I've got that ready. Now we'll go turn them loose. Stay, Bella. Good morning, goats. Sorry about that. Annie is in standing heat and Gumball's in love with her. Neither of my boys can make babies, but it doesn't stop Gumball from trying. Sometimes it's rather embarrassing. Good morning, goats. Good morning. How you doing? Yeah, are you talking to me, Annie Mae? Okay. Get off, Gumball. There we go. This way, goats. Annie, this way. Come on, goats. Come on, Annie. Need to straighten that piece out. All right. That's all that's in there, little gummers. You guys got plenty of water? Yep. So they've been in this paddock for 2 days. This is their 3rd day. It's nice and flat in this section down here. And then it goes pretty much at a 45-degree angle up there, maybe steeper. They've been doing a good job. This is where they were before that. They put in a couple of trails, a big old area where they liked to sunbathe on the side of the ridge there. And then up at the top of the paddock over in the one they're currently in, there's 2 madrone trees that they've eaten much of the leaves off of the one on the left because it's a little tiny guy. And they've eaten all the blackberry leaves so far. Now, today is the day where they have to eat not ice cream, they get to eat meat and potatoes is what I call it, where they need to eat their vegetables. All right, so I just put their bowl back in, check their water bucket, make sure it's got plenty for the day, because the next animal, it's not really my animal, but they're really cute. And I don't feed them or take care of them, but just for today, I'll open it up and we'll take a peek at these crazy little critters. Hi guys. How are you? Behind me there is Unter and Timmy. Unter and Timmy. Hello. They have taken over the goat barn for the time being. And I don't mind, and I don't think the goats do either, because the weather is warm now. The goats are happy to sleep in the barnyard right outside the barn. They also have their shade shack that they can sleep in case it rains. They all climb in their shade shack. We're going to be keeping this particular shade shack right here in the barnyard and move it around a little bit. And we have a new shade shack that my husband built that is much lighter, and we can move that to the different paddocks. The weather has been beautiful. They have shade for much of the day in one way or the other, so they don't need a shade shack over there at the moment. But once we move them to their next paddock, they won't have trees in the next couple of paddocks, so we'll need to bring their new shade shack over there for them to use. So anyway, all right, I opened up their top door on the barn. They are looking like they're ready for some breakfast. You guys hungry this morning? Looks like you drank a bunch of your water last night. I have their mineral block over here that they can just come lick on and work on. Hi guys. Hi Unter. How are you, little buddy? All right, I'll send the boys out here. So I'm just gonna close up their fence again, turn it on. We are all set. I guess we'll get her turned on. All right, that's it for the chores, guys. That's it. Getting the last few madrone leaves.